Over to you, Joan. Cheers. And then we'll drink the beer with lunch.
Hi, everyone. Hi. That's great, thanks. Okay. Cool. Hi. My name's Jane, and I am a brewer. I'm guessing you've probably not had many of those here yet today. So, yeah, I'm here from Mothership, and Mothership is an all-female brewery. Like James said, we're pretty new. We just launched our first brew, and we're having our launch party at Craft Beer Rising this year, so we'll see some of you there, hopefully. Cool. And whilst I'm talking, if you want to look up a bit of background, you can see our website at mothership.beer, and our Instagram is also mothership.beer. So, yeah, I know it's nearly lunchtime and you're probably all starving and want to go and eat some food and drink some beer. But I'm just going to tell you a little story, if that's okay, about Mothership. Thank you. So the story begins, I'm 16 years old and I'm desperate to buy a car. So I need a job. And I grew up in Kent, in a town called Tenterden. Anyone heard of it? Yeah. Yeah, yay. And just outside Tenterden, or actually I think they say it's in Tenterden, is Chapel Down Winery, which in 1998 was just at the very beginning of the English wine scene. So I had got a summer job there as a winemaker's assistant. And there was no interview, it's not a big deal. There's kind of no real competition for the job. I just went along and I was there and they said I could do it and it was cool. And yeah, it was real manual labour. It was just cleaning out huge fermentation tanks, manning the bottling line, really repetitive over and over again. And I just loved it. And what I really fell in love with was the idea of fermentation. So fermentation, for those who don't know, is where the yeast kind of metabolizes the sugars that are in kind of wort, which is what we call it in beer, which is before beer becomes alcoholic, or the sugars in wine, and creates alcohol. And I just found it fascinating, this kind of nurturing of this living organism. You give it the right environment, you give it the right food, and it creates this amazing drink, which we have had for kind of since the dawn of civilization. And I know it's just before lunch, I'm not going to go into it, but there's a theory that the reason that we have kind of civilization, the reason that we live the way that we live in kind of towns and cities and places, why we're not nomadic anymore, is because of the kind of need to create beer. It's true. It's a theory. I just found it all fascinating. I worked this job for the summer, and I stayed on for the weekends, and I went back the following summer, and I stayed on for the weekends. And then, unfortunately, my grammar school, girls' grammar school in the 90s, didn't really present beer or winemaking as a kind of credible career choice. So I found my way into graphic design. I worked as a designer in branding and advertising agencies for 10 plus years. But throughout those years, whilst I was studying and working, I was a very keen home brewer, and mostly wines actually. Had some highs and some lows. Still can't drink Sauvignon Blanc after a particularly dodgy batch which I made from a box once, which I determinedly drunk my way through as a student. But then I made a really beautiful blackberry wine, which was served at my wedding to great acclaim. So, there's ups and downs. And yeah, wine was homebrewing wine was a really big part of my life for a long time. And then I discovered beer. And I discovered beer because I bought my husband for Christmas one year a homebrew beer kit. I was like, yes, husbands are really hard to buy presents for, mine is particularly. And I thought, I've nailed it. He's going to love it. Homebrew beer kit. Anyway, it sat in the cupboard for a year until it was just about to go out of date. I was like, well, if you're not going to do this, I'm going to do it. And yeah, so I brewed something, can't even remember what it was, something not very interesting. And yeah, I loved it. And as the kind of obsessive about the subject as I was, I looked into it, and there was no real craft beer scene at that time. But what I really discovered was this subculture of homebrew beer makers who were just really keen on kind of sharing recipes and stories, and and I learned loads, made loads of different types of beers. I wasn't ever a beer drinker, actually. I hardly drank any of the beer that I was making. I was a maker, and I was kind of really obsessed with making different types of beer, which I would just then give to people, and with the, kind of questionable feedback sometimes. But it was cool because I was enjoying it, and it was fun. And yeah, so then what happened? Oh yeah, then had babies. Babies are amazing, but they also have a habit of getting in the way of your hobbies. And so brewing took a bit of a back seat for a while, and I kind of got a bit lost in this fog of play dates and NCT meetups and pushing buggies around the park endlessly. And I did it twice, and I kind of started to lose myself a little bit, and I started to think, kind of, who am I and what am I? and I was like brewing bits and bobs in between, but I wasn't really into it. And then I thought, oh yeah, I remember that. That used to really be me. I really enjoyed that. And so I started brewing again, and it really became this anchor for me to kind of remember who I was and reclaim some kind of sense of my identity. Anyway, my husband, for Christmas one year, who's very supportive of everything that I do, bought me a membership for a company called Brew for Christmas one year. Has anyone here heard of Brew? Yes. Yes, I know James has, because they are supposed to be here speaking today, but instead it's me. I'm actually a brewer at Brew now, so I'm also here to give you a little bit of background on Brew. And they are a, a co-working space for homebrewers. So they have a setup of 5 70-litre kits and 1 200-litre kit, where anybody can have a membership, and you can go along and you can homebrew your beer on a bigger scale than you would be able to at home. So it's really cool. And I had never heard of it before, but then I went along and I did my first few brews, and it was really fun, and the people there were super nice and super supportive. And I met loads of really cool other people, other homebrewers. I'd never really spoken in real life to other homebrewers before, so it's really amazing to kind of share knowledge and passion and skills. And Brew is a great facilitator for that. And they were running a competition called Creative Crate in partnership with Saatchi and Saatchi, who they were trying to curate a creative crate of beers. So they wanted to kind of find some up-and-coming new brewers. So I entered a couple of my beers for the competition. And there were six categories, I think. And amazingly, I couldn't believe it, that out of the 2 beers I entered, one of them won and one of them was shortlisted out of all of the, 100+ entries that they had. And I had some of my heroes on the judging panel, so I was really overwhelmed by it. So then I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe, I'm all right at this. Maybe I'm all right at making beer. That's cool. So I carried on doing what I was doing, but I ramped it up a bit, and this idea for Mothership was sown. And I thought about my journey and all the places that I've been and who I am as a person, and I kind of did all the things that you do when you're starting up a business, and I had no idea actually how complicated it is to start up a brewery, and HMRC like to have a lot of information on you. I have here written on my notes, lots to do, because there was actually lots and lots to do. I had to do like financial plans and all the design, and unfortunately, having a background in design, I did that all myself. But really the key thing was that Mothership is an all-female brewery. And it was not about making beer for women, because why should women drink other beer than men? It has been tried in the past by some of the bigger breweries, and it's not gone down very well with the women. But it's just about really seeing what happens when a group of women get together in an environment where they are very much in a minority. I guess, so it was important it was all female, and for the brand experience, I know that it's good to have a USP, and in a predominantly male industry, it kind of makes sense to have all female if you can get together a really great bunch of women. But for me, it was about more than that. I read an article about starting up a brewery, and it said the best thing you can do when you start up a brewery is to start local. Call it the name of the place where you live. People really buy into their local thing. And I thought, that's local in terms of proximity and what you're actually close to physically. But then there's local in terms of your tribe, like who are your people? And that kind of got me thinking more, like who are my people? And I didn't want to be like, I live in Nunhead. I didn't want to be, anyone here live in Nunhead? Near Nunhead? No. I didn't want to be like a Nunhead brewery or anything like that. I wanted to be something that I kind of believed a bit more. In my experience of bringing up children, I saw the mummy blogs and the mumtrepreneurs and the Insta mums, and what interested me was not so much about what they were actually talking about and selling, but was about the solidarity that surrounded them. The women who were really kind of believed in them and their product and what they wanted to do, and were there to support them and to help them. So the idea of the Mothership all-female brewery was born. I had a piece of advice from a. Sorry, am I overrunning? Okay, sorry, I'll go quick. Okay, I had a bit of advice from a well-meaning male friend who didn't think the female aspect was very good for sales. And he very kindly rewrote my entire business plan with some kind of different angle that was not about women. But actually, my slides have gone. Hang on. Okay. Sorry. Actually, the women thing has been amazing for me. And like I said, we're really new. This happened in the last week. That I posted a post on a women in craft beer thing on Instagram, Facebook. And within an hour, I'd had these posts saying, we're interested to try something in our store, want stock if they're suitable for our bar, someone who's got them in their shop saying how great they are, how they enjoyed them. Tap room wants someone their special taps. These are just someone wants in a festival. It's just, there's loads of them. We'd be interested in stocking them at Brewdog, Tower Hill. These are all women who have, just believe in women. And that is the solidarity that I think maybe this advisor just hadn't experienced before. The kind of the power behind it. And and then this one, which is not from a woman, but it's not exclusive to men. It's somebody who said that they are a beer buyer at Tesco's. I just got this today. This is our first brew. We're only stocked in 2 stores, like 2 local bottle shops to me, just because they're my mates. But this has been amazing for me, and this has been like the power of the brand It's the end. OK, the last bit. I couldn't come to a tech conference without showing a graph. So this is just a bit about me, how I'm coping. I drew this in a taxi on the way here, OK? So this is me. I'm a wife. I'm not doing very well at that at the moment. Mum, definitely could do better. Definitely could organise some activities for my children, get them to eat something more than tomato pasta. Business, I feel like I'm doing OK with. My job, it's like, that's fine. That's pretty straightforward. Sister, daughter, friend, etc. Not good. But what I'm aiming for is this, like, I've worked out, it's about 62%. If I can just get that to be all of them averaging out there, I'm winning. Thanks for listening.
OK, brilliant. 62%, much better than 51%. Thank you, Jane. Let's go have some lunch and some beer and eat quickly, I guess.